Detroit just changed the mood of the whole NFC North, and most people outside Detroit don't even realize it yet. You can feel it in the way people talk about this defense now. There's a different kind of tension, a different kind of respect because it finally looks like the front office is ready to back up all that grit talk with one more serious piece in the pass rush. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report. I'm talking straight to you, Lions fan to Lions fan, and here you get quick updates and real breakdowns of everything that happens with our team. Today I want to walk you through the move that could finally give Ian Hutchinson the running mate he's been waiting for, what this means for the defense, how it fits into Brad Holmes' long-term plan, and what the numbers and the tape say about the guy who's right in the middle of all these conversations. I'm not going to spoil the name right away, because the story of how he got here is just as important as the destination. Think back to last year's trade deadline, when Hutch went down and suddenly the entire pass rush felt like it was being held together with tape and good vibes. The Lions were desperate for help off the edge, and in the final hours they went and brought in Darius Smith. It worked well enough to keep the season afloat, but everybody inside the building knew it wasn't a long-term solution. Fast forward to this season. Smith is gone. His release opened up cap space, but also reopened the same old question. Who scares offensive coordinators on the other side of Hutchinson? The front office tried to answer it by betting again on Marcus Davenport, a guy with all the tools in the world, and a resume full of if he stays healthy footnote. Davenport flashed, then got hurt again. And you're heading into the bye with him missing games, the rotation thinner than it looked on paper. And that same uncomfortable feeling that you're one injury away from losing your pass rush identity. Even with Hutch back playing like a monster and guys like Alquaid and Muhammad stepping up, you watch the tape and you know this. When games get tight in January, you can't live on one dominant rusher and a bunch of maybes. You need waves. You need fresh legs in the fourth quarter. You need someone who can win quickly on 3rd and 7, so Aaron Glenn doesn't have to send the whole building on a blitz just to get pressure. And sure enough, as we got closer to the deadline, the reports started leaking out. Detroit is making calls. Detroit is sniffing around for an edge. People around the league are talking about the Lions as buyers again. In those conversations, one profile keeps popping up. Not a superstar with a massive contract who would cost a first-round pick, but a veteran with real production, real length, and real juice as a rotational starter. A guy who has quietly put together 3 seasons with at least 6 sacks in 4 years. Someone who can win from wide 9, kick inside on passing downs, set the edge in the run game, and bring the kind of relentless motor this staff loves. A player stuck on a struggling team right now who would walk into Detroit and instantly feel that the games in November, December, and January finally matter in a different way. If you've been reading between the lines, you know exactly the type of move I'm talking about. The Titans are rebuilding. They've already moved pieces. They're not in a position to turn down picks for veterans on the back half of their deals. And sitting right there in that conversation is a 6'5" edge rusher with long arms, a disruptive first step, and a contract that fits right into Brad Holmes' favorite range. Not cheap enough to be a lottery ticket, not so expensive that it wrecks your flexibility. Now imagine you're watching a Lions game in December, and instead of seeing Hutchinson getting doubled every snap while everyone else just tries to hang on, you've got another long, explosive edge on the opposite side, living in the backfield. That doesn't just give you a new name, it changes the math. Offenses have to slide protection differently. Backs have to chip. Quarterbacks feel that extra half second of panic because there's pressure coming from both edges, and the pocket is shrinking faster. So let's stop dancing around it. The name that fits every one of these boxes is Arden Key. And right now, all the serious talk around the league has him as one of the most logical trade targets for Detroit. Look at his recent years, steady sack numbers, consistent pressure, experience in multiple fronts, and the kind of effort that shows up even when his team is getting pushed around. He's not a flashy household name, but he is exactly the type of piece that wins you playoff downs. When you turn on his Titans, what jumps off the screen is how often he wins quickly. He's not just cleaning up other people's work. He creates his own chaos. He can threaten the outside shoulder, then counter back inside. He can rush standing up or with his hand in the dirt. And he doesn't disappear against the run, which is absolutely non-negotiable in Detroit. Dan Campbell has been clear. If you're going to play on this defense, you have to be willing to take on blocks, squeeze gaps, and do the dirty work. Key has built his career on that kind of mentality. From a roster building point of view, this is where it gets even more interesting. Arden Key is in that lane where the production and the price meet in the middle. You're not talking about giving up a premium pick or inheriting some massive long-term cap anchor, because his base salary is reasonable and you're only taking on the prorated portion for the rest of the season. He lands in the range where Detroit can add him without blowing up the structure they've just built with all those extensions for guys like Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Winning teams aren't just about star power. They're about stacking value contracts in the right spots. On the field, I can already see how Aaron Glenn would use him. Early downs, you line him up opposite Hutch, keep offenses honest, and force them to declare where they want to send help. Passing situations, you go into those NASCAR look with Hutch kicked inside next to Alan McNeil, Key wide, maybe a blitzing linebacker walked up, and suddenly there are one-on-ones everywhere. You don't have to call exotic stuff on every third down. You just let your dudes hunt. And the beauty of Key's game is that he doesn't need 80% of the snaps to impact a game. Give him 35 to 45 quality snaps. Let him stay fresh, and he can give you those one or two negative plays that flip a drive. And I know some people are going to say, do we really need to spend picks on an edge when the defense is already playing well? That's exactly how teams talk themselves into being one pass rush short in January. The truth is, these are the moments when you either go get that final piece or you sit back and watch someone else do it. The cost here is reasonable, the cap hit is manageable, and the upside is completely aligned with the way this team wants to play. Physical, violent, relentless at the line of scrimmage. Right now, it's still a trade deadline scenario. Nothing official from Allen Park, but all the signs point in the same direction. If the Lions are going to pull the trigger on an edge, Arden Key is right at the top of the board. Before I give you my final verdict, I want to hear from you. As a Lions fan, do you think a move for Arden Key is the kind of aggressive, smart push a contender should make? Or would you rather hold on to every late-round pick and ride with the guys already on the roster? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me how you'd feel seeing number 49 lining up opposite Hutch in a playoff game. And what other positions you'd still want Brad Holmes to address. Before the deadline, for me, the analysis is clear. If the price stays in that day 3 range and the medicals check out, going after Arden Key is exactly the kind of calculated swing that can turn a good defense into a unit that closes out playoff games. You're not chasing a big name for the headline. You're targeting a proven producer who fits the scheme, the mindset, and the budget. In a league where one extra hurry, one extra sack, one extra forced third and long can decide your season, adding that kind of presence to Hutchinson's is a bet I'm absolutely willing to make. And I honestly hope the front office feels the same way. So here's the deal. If you love this kind of deep dive on the Lions, where we go beyond the headline and really break down the moves, make sure you subscribe to Lions News Fan Report. Hit the like button and share this with that friend who lives and dies with every Detroit snap. I'm going to keep bringing you fast updates, honest analysis, and that fan perspective that you're not going to get from the national shows. One Pride, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.